I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and my father's Edward VIII, who was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe Windsor. She was Queen of England in 36, should have remained. My father, Edward VIII, was taken down with character assassination. He never married Wallis Simpson. She married an impostor, one of them. There was more than one. They were going out and committing all these behaviors that were unbecoming, to say the least, but they were pinned on my father. He was married to my mom. He did not leave on his own. It was lies. He had an addendum or legal papers drawn up that were legal, saying if he had an heir would inherit. The minute I was born Victoria II, legal heir to the British crown. Elizabeth's father was, how's this? He was made king. They took my father down, kidnapped me. Well, they made him king in 37 when they took my father down, and had my father, who's married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, had him marrying, it was an impostor, but this is the way history has written it and kept it, to Wallis Simpson, the American spy. So Elizabeth's always known this, the whole truth. My God, the attachment or papers my father had drawn up would, if he had an heir, it would put him back as my guardian and power of control. What am I trying to say? Power of attorney and guardian. Decision making and all this. So then they had to get rid of me. The Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, the Kennedys, JFK, it actually helped in my kidnapping. Now, I just put this up about the real Peggy, how she died. They put me there and gave me the name of twin. Peggy and Carl were twins. They were born out of wedlock. So Lina killed the male twin Carl when he was about a month old. Peggy was actually killed about a week to 2 weeks before they brought me there after my kidnapping. I was going to say, okay, you get into things that can't be, there's so many of them. They can't be, they have to be intentional. Like Wallis Simpson didn't marry my father, she married double, but history still has it that way. Left my mom out. My mom and dad were still alive and married to each other in October the 20th of 86. And they were quite elderly then. Now, I want to get back to this Wallis Simpson. How in God's name could it have all been allowed to happen? She was born illegitimate. And back then they called you bastard. They called you, it's not like today. So anyway, her father and mother were not married either. Then you got Peggy and Carl, the twins, where I was put in 41 at age 2. And my Uncle George Roosevelt, the Kennedys, helped in my kidnapping. But so you've got Peggy and Carl were born out of wedlock, illegitimate, and here I'm put there and given her name, Peggy's name, and here I'm really Margaret Ann Windsor, and my father's not married to Wallis Simpson. She's illegitimate, though. Then let's backtrack to the twins. Later, after I'm put there, and a few years later, Freeman Norwood was supposed to have been charged with being the father of the twins, Peggy and Carl, that Lina had out of wedlock. It's questioned whether she raped him. She was a sociopath, a psychopath. But anyway, I wasn't that old, and back where they put me, you had to walk. It was hard. You talk about slum, you wouldn't believe what went on in the not just poverty, the brutality. But anyway, I can remember walking over to the Norwoods had a home. Now, the Norwoods were supposed to be Peggy and Carl's father. They were born out of wedlock. So then I'm put there, and a lot of people knew that something was wrong, that I was not the Peggy. But anyway, I mean, I've just put that up. Excuse me. I ate some fish. Love fish. Uh, I went in with, I think it was Jean. She's still alive, I think. The only one out of that bunch. Lina's sisters, you know. I went in and, with her, I believe, and or Annie, the other, she's deceased, and it turned out that this woman jumped up from the piano. She was there visiting the people where we went. They were Norwoods, and she jumped up and she said, I remember she even peed on the piano stool. She got up screaming, "Get that girl out of here! Get that girl out of here! My husband's not her father." Well, she had that right, but she thought I was Peggy. Now, you getting all this? I mean, it's been this way all the way through it. Oh, let's see, what was I going to put up here? My God, I got on here now. I'm going to forget. Oh, I was just watching. I put up about Meghan Markle marrying Harry. Elizabeth is a traitor, war criminal. She works for the Illuminati. They just put out a 300 top list people of the Illuminati, and she was way up there at the very top. Well, I've put this up all along, and others have too. So she has no right to work for the British government. She's a traitor. It's not legally her right. She's always known about me, about my mom and dad, all of it. My mom was school teacher, Madison, Wisconsin, sister to artist Georgia O'Keeffe. And don't let me forget, I'm tired. And anyway, I'm listening to Meghan Markle, and there's more to it. I put it up about Meghan Markle and Harry marrying. I was told back in 2010, that Harry was going to marry a black lady. Instead, she's biracial, but that's too much for me to have been told it, and I didn't really believe it until it happened, you know. Anyway, I'm going to put this in now. This is where my home is. It's stolen, everything, even my children, and the things done to them, and the torture to my parents, me, but to my country, whether some of them at this point are besotted by this bunch of money-hungry, illegal thugs sitting up there or not. I hope not. Not all of them. Some of them aren't. They've been over here trying to bring me home through the years and protecting me. Now, there's more to Meghan Markle. I talked about mind control murders. That's what I was writing about doing the book. Larry Flint was shot by a program shooter, mind control. George Wallace, governor of Alabama, and, Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, Martin Luther King, who the truth's never told about his part in all this. He's not the good guy that history's left. Isn't this odd? They've left my father, Edward VIII, who's the good guy. He wouldn't go along, take orders from the Illuminati's, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Jews. I'll go ahead and say it, because they did horrible things to me and my children. So let me just skip back to this. I want Meghan Markle. There's more to. I was telling about the murders being done in patterns. And it was the Tesla files I was writing about, where you can cure an illness or create it. But this has been the murders ongoing that fit in patterns. And Larry Flint was one of them that I put up because he did an endorsement in Hustler magazine, and I put this up over and over till the poor picture's about gone, or the photo. Anyway, endorsing me and saying I knew who was responsible for his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia in 78. Anyway, it's put together deliberately. It's been done because mind control's invisible. You can't see it, so how do you prove it? So these over the time were done in patterns. And Meghan Markle, that whole thing, her sister is named Samantha, her half-sister. That's so important in these, the patterns. And then you get to Meghan as like Margaret, and Markle is M-A-R-K. My son Mark is the heir after me. My sons are Edward VIII, who's a real king, and my mom, Claudia Ruth, grandchildren. Now then you got Meghan Markle, and her father's white, and her mother's a black lady. who, by the way, Elizabeth's going to share Christmas dinner with. Elizabeth's playing it for all it's worth, let me clue you. Illegal. My God, people bow down to this criminal. She walks into church and must think God's, out to lunch or something. What was I going to say? Anyway, here's my point I was going to make, which the irony. There's things about twins, and I will not get into what I've been told is probably a lie about the real reason for all this stuff about twins. It gets too much to be a coincidence. You start going back in it, and I find it hard to think it's not true because it's so intricate. I don't think there's people on this planet that could have put it together, but then I can be wrong. And it's a joke on me. But I was put in that family where there were twins and Peggy and Carl and all this. But the oddity in this is so much connections to Robin Williams and emotions and all this, Mark for Mark. People find funny unless they were like Captain Kirk and on Star Trek, and okay. So now and then, just Meghan, they were saying on TV that Meghan Markle and Harry had moved out, which they have, down the street or wherever, away from Kate and Harry. And, Kate and William. Illegal, my God. Money hungry. None of them can tell the truth. They all know it. And this has probably gone out. But now then, she's supposed to be pregnant. Meghan Markle is. I have my wonders about all this, but my point here for putting this up was just before this went off, when they were telling about this, it was a British reporter, English reporter from England, I assume, and he was saying something about they thought that there's a possibility Meghan was having twins. If this is so, she's having twins. My God, how much before they tell the truth about me and my father and mother, and I want to say this, and my sons, I hope they're alive and well. They have made out today, and I don't really know that much about President Bush. I know he was CIA. I know that he was in the Army when all this went down in 1941 and 2 over in the UK and that part of the France and all that. They've all been members of the Illuminati, this right now, your global government, like in end times, that kidnap me and they control your press. So they go through all of this and they talk about how good they are, the presidents. I'm not going to go into anything else here, like Ronald Reagan, the Bloomingdale tapes, and what happened to me when I turned the letter from the FBI over to them. I'm on the street then, and they almost killed me April Fool Day of 80. I thought it was because of the book. I found out it's because of who I am. They've never, well, let me just make it short here. They've never told the truth about my father and mother. They've got my father being the most, it's unbelievable to watch some of the videos that are still being put up. And this was Doubles, not my dad. It's really upsetting to me. And then to watch, sitting in this country, who I am and what's been done to me and my kids, family, country. My mom was an American, remember? And I hear all this loving care poured out, and the press that has never, I'll be 80 years old next month. As far as I know, that's my birthday. Not 1 ounce of truth has ever been told about me and my children, my father and mother, and what really happened to the United Kingdom, Great Britain, the British Empire.